Alright guys, here I am about to pull the wifey Suburban, we're in gear now, pulling it into the barn here to do a little oil change. Do you guys like seeing stuff like this? Oh, it's dark in here. I know there's a million how-to videos on YouTube, but does it help, you know, when it's all kind of combined, just showing our lives together? I mean, this is what other people do, right? They, it's part of everyday life. You got to do things like chores, like changing your own oil, you know, yard work, all that kind of stuff. It really has to happen. So does it help seeing how-tos? I don't know, you tell me. Leave it below in the comments and subscribe. Here we go, I got my jack and both jack stands under the vehicle. It's always important, whenever you lift a vehicle with a jack, always use jack stands. And quality jack stands, not like super bent, cheap, flimsy, whatever. Got our oil here, Mobil 1 high mileage, synthetic, and oil filter. And I'm actually starting out with this Marvel mystery oil. Some buddies of mine have told me, hey, it works great, blah, blah, blah. We have just over 100,000 miles on the old family truckster. So I figured, why not? It's worth a shot. It's good to learn to do this stuff. When you take care of your stuff, it lasts longer. When you do it yourself and you know what you're doing, you know that it's been done right. Pretty much take your vehicle anywhere to some local chain and they may do a good job, they may not. It's hard to say. Unless you're underneath your own vehicle and doing it yourself, there's no good way of really knowing. That's something that I want my kids to learn, is how to maintain their own stuff, not just their cars, but you know, take care of their toys. We try to teach them young to do that stuff. I've been teaching Harper ever since she's had her little electric Power Wheels car thing to, we bought a cover for it, and after she's done playing with it, she covers it up, keeps, you know, bird crap off of it, and you know, keeps it any kind of weather out of it and all that stuff. I think it's important that kids learn that young, so they always take care of their stuff as they get older. What do you guys think? Do you teach your kids? Do you do that? Let us know. We want to hear from you guys. All right, I'm crawling under here now. Let's see how well I can actually show you guys this. I just slide the camera past my belly. Another good reason to use a jack and jack stands is if you got a big butt like me trying to climb up under a vehicle. Got my oil drip pan ready to go. And up here is our drain plug. Changing your oil is easy. All you gotta do, get your catch pan underneath, loosen the drain plug, let it all drain into the pan, put the plug back in, and then you fill it up from the top. Come on, I'll show you. Oh, loosened her up there. Make sure your catch pan is in the trajectory, because this oil is going to come shooting out. And don't drop the drain plug. If you do, it's not the end of the world, but it just makes it a lot easier if you don't. Oh, come on, almost there. Almost there. What's that? Whoa, we struck oil. I wish. I also forgot to say you got to change the oil filter, which is that blue thing up there. And we'll do that in just a second after this drains down a bit. Next, take your oil filter. Real easy. You just open this up and you want to pour just a little bit of oil in the oil filter. Not necessarily super full, but just enough to have as a reservoir. Because when you start it up, after your oil change, oil has to cycle through and the motor and fill everything up. So it just kind of helps speed that process up. You might be able to see the threaded rings around the top. Just goes straight up, screws on, and you're good to go. All right, I've got the filter snugged up, drain plug tightened. Got a little bit of oil residue on the engine cross member and this guard here, the skid plate, if you will. So now we just go up top and fill her up. Here we go, I got my funnel ready. Got my oil ready to be poured in. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. All right, now I've got almost all the oil in there. I'm just cranking her up. I want to check for leaks underneath. No leaks. Looks pretty good to me. All right, we shut her off. Grab us a paper towel or a rag, whatever you got. Now, I've been doing this just as a more generalization of how to change oil. But for those wondering specifically, this is a Chevrolet 5.3. It's a 2006 Suburban. And the capacity is 6 quarts. Well, our jug of oil that I have is 5 quarts. You may have noticed that. Well, I also mentioned I'm using 1 quart of this Marvel Mystery Oil. Marvel Mystery Oil. Say that 5 times fast. But once you get about 5.5 quarts in here, it's a good idea to let it run for a second, which I just showed you. Pull your dipstick, check your levels. Is it possible? How good of a cameraman is he? Not very, apparently. Does this look weird? The light gleaming off my bald head. Look at that. So shiny. So shiny. Hey, look. I have an idea. Nice one, Dad. And looks pretty good. I'm gonna wipe it off. Do it one more time. All the way down, all the way back out. And yeah, I know it's very difficult to see, but your oil should look about like honey, kind of a golden light color. And your dipstick should tell you exactly where the fill line is, like what's low, what's high. Don't want to overfill it. You don't want to leave it too low. So you want somewhere close to the top, maybe in the middle. And we're almost there. So what I'm gonna do, put the dipstick back. And since we don't have much oil left, I'm just gonna go ahead and top it off and we'll be done. Another little handy trick that I've learned over the years of doing this is using your empty jug and pouring all the old oil out of your drip pan into the empty jug, and it just makes it easier to take down to the creek and just pour it in there. No, I'm just kidding, don't do that. It makes it easier to take to your recycling center. Pretty much any part shop, like the place you probably bought your oil from, they have recycling bins in the back just for oil. All you gotta do is walk up and tell them that you got some oil to drain, and they'll show you where to put it in the back. Makes it easy, and you know, keeps the environment clean, which is what we're all about, right? I'm a little greasy, a little sweaty, and it only took me about 30 minutes, which is not as fast as some of those places down the street, but I know it was done right. And I used really high quality synthetic oil and a really good oil filter, and I did it for, I think it was like less than 40 bucks. Have you had your oil changed lately? It's expensive, especially on a full-size SUV like this with a big V8. It can be 80, 100 bucks easy. One last thing is, whether you change your oil every 3,000 miles or 15,000 miles, it's good to keep track of how many miles you go in between. Right. I always use trip B on our vehicle's computer. You can write it down, you can get an app for that. There's a bunch of apps that will keep track of it if you plug it in. But I use Trip B. It's been 3,792.3 miles since my last oil change. So I'm just gonna reset it. Usually when you go to one of the quick lube places, they'll put a sticker in the window. You can get those stickers online. You can get them at some of the parts stores when you buy your oil. I just always forget to get them. So I started using Trip B, and it just makes things a little easier. So now we're reset, ready to go another 3,000 or 4,000 miles before our next oil change. And that's that. That wasn't so difficult, was it? So dads, moms watching the channel, it's really easy to do your own kind of maintenance stuff. Just basic tools that most people have laying around. If you don't, a lot of the parts stores will even loan you tools. You might have to put a little deposit down, but you get it back. And you have the sense of pride that you did the job yourself and you know it was done right. Hang on. I'm locking the barn door here. Gotta keep them trespassers out. There, boom. And I know I have a vehicle ready to go, keep my family safe, keep my wife on the road, because Lord knows she likes to keep them roads hot, as my grandmother used to say. Now I'm just driving back over to the house and hand the keys off, because I think Mama is ready to go somewhere today. It's a pretty nice day. It's well before lunchtime, but it's already over 80 degrees. And it is warm and muggy. So talks have been going to the pool. We'll see what the girls say.